Good morning, and thanks for participating. I'd like to tell you a little bit about a company that's probably not on very many people's radar screen, Japan, as a new or renewed gold mining or gold exploration destination. And Japan Gold Corp, our company, is the first mover in this new regime. A little bit of history. Japan has had a wonderful history of high-grade gold mining right back to the 7th century. It's been a very dynamic environment throughout the whole country and has been an active producer of high-grade gold. Right up till 1943, when all the gold mines were closed towards the end of the Second World War by the government. After the war concluded, only a handful of the operating mines reopened, about 12 of them, and they ran till the 1970s when the gold standard decoupled. As the gold mining industry sort of evolved, the mines that had operated were producing had produced upwards of 1 million to 2.5 million ounces, again at quite high grades. Once that cycle had sort of finished off, there was a general view in the country that all gold had been discovered, all resources had been identified, and there was really nothing else to find. And that was probably true for what was poking out of the ground, because some prospector had probably found it. But that idea was overturned in 1981 when the Hishikari mine was discovered. This was a blind discovery by the Geological Survey of Japan, and it was discovered on Kyushu, the southern island, at a very shallow depth of about 150 meters. And it was discovered in an area where they didn't expect to really find anything, because as opposed to being in the volcanic sequence, it was in the basement, or the contact, or just into the basement. But ultimately the discovery, which became owned by Sumitomo Metal Mining, was 8.4 million ounce resource at 47.3 grams per ton. And many people have never heard of the Hishikari mine, yet it's one of the best mines in the world. So in any other country, that would have created a new staking rush of epic proportions, but not so much in Japan, because all the gold mining companies and all the mineral resource trading houses had been incented to go abroad and to go secure resources and bring them back to the country. And so there was really no exploration at all following that term. In 2012, it all changed. The Mining Act was changed by the government to, for the first time in the country's history, allow foreign companies to come in and own 100% of mineral exploration rights or mining rights. And this was a very, very unique development, and that's how Japan Gold Corp was formed. We were well aware of this because one of our directors had had significant experience evaluating all the historic mines in Japan and looking at new opportunities for BHP previously, and he'd gone on to become the president of Newcrest in Indonesia and the Philippines. And so while it wasn't publicized broadly by the government, it was something that we felt was just revolutionary and a wonderful first world destination. So we moved very, very quickly, and quickly in Japan, timing, it took us 3 years of a lot of effort, obtaining the Japanese government database, getting our own ideas together, collaborating with 3 of the major universities, and then ultimately moving on to identify the key areas throughout the country that we liked. We also helped design the permitting regime and provided significant feedback to the regulators in the country. So once that had all concluded, after 3 years, we decided we're going to go. We were going to try and pick up all the key areas of the country that we could, and we did. We picked up 17 major projects throughout the whole country as the first mover there, and that's how we built our portfolio. So that's the background of where we are, and I'll just take you through a couple of brief slides in the short time that we have. Our forward-looking statements. Our share structure, we're a small junior public company that's listed on the TSX Venture Exchange. We have about a $15 million market capitalization, and our investment bank is the largest shareholder currently today at owning 53% of the company. We've put in $12 million Canadian dollars to date. Here's Japan. If you haven't been to Japan, basically there's 3 main islands. There's actually a 4th one, but we don't include that because we don't see much geological prospectivity there. The northern island of Hokkaido, the central island of Honshu, and the southern island of Kyushu. And the areas that are highlighted there are the historic areas of high-grade gold mining, again from the 7th century, and then more recently since the Second World War evolved. We'll move on. Here's just a quick summary of the mines that operated after the Second World War. You can see that there's about 13 of them listed on the slide. The top one, of course, is Hishikari, and it is a remarkable resource, but there are some other significant production figures that came through there, high grades and significant ounces coming out of Japan. Here's the map now with the Japan Gold Corp portfolio. We have 17 projects. 13 of them are epithermal projects, which are our focus. So we're looking for high-grade gold and epithermal veins. But along with one of the studies we did with one of the 3 universities, we identified 4 lithocap opportunities. And so we managed to secure those as well as a precursor to hopefully some porphyry mineralization. Under our 13 epithermal project areas, we have 40 high-grade gold mines and significant workings that were closed in 1943 and have never been reopened. So it's a remarkable number, and there's virtually been no drilling except geologic type drilling through any of those areas. Quickly touching on Kyushu and the southern area, light green areas on these busy maps are the prospective areas of geology. Hishikari is situated in the southern green area. There's been a number of other significant producers there. The areas in red are areas that have been acquired by us in conjunction with one of the 3 universities, Kyushu University in this case, where we've collaborated on identifying these new properties based on their extensive decades of research on the island and certainly efforts post the Hishikari discovery. And to the north, there's another historic mine, and we picked up a project there. I'm going to jump right up to Hokkaido, the northern island. On Hokkaido, you'll see a green area to the north. It's called the Kitami Metallogenic Province. Again, these are very busy slides, but there was one mine there called the Konami mine, which produced about 2.5 million ounces, another Sumitomo asset like Hishikari, and that was one of the key drivers in the area. The red outlines are our projects, and I'm going to take you to just one of them in the interest of time to show you why we pick up projects in these areas. This is called the Akutahara project. It's just under 200 square kilometers. Again, a very busy slide, but if you look at each of those white labels, each of those labels, and there's 17, are high-grade underground epithermal gold mines that were closed in 1943, never reopened, and we found only 3 drill holes, geological drill holes through this whole 200-kilometer area. So an incredible density of high-grade gold mines we're excited about. The other thing that we're finding is that in the ovals, and specifically the southern oval in the Kitami, the Kitano gold field area or gold district, we're finding that several mines are actually joined together. So these are what we're poking up out of the ground in 1943, but we're finding that they're parts of large systems, and that's what we're after, large systems, not just a few additional ounces to previous producers. Here's just a quick snapshot, and I love this. I found it in the local library, and it's just a sketch that artists made in 1937 of that Kitano mine. And it was just a mine for the more technical people in the audience that there was a layer of sinter over the top of these hills that had gold interbedded in the sinter, and a clay layer just below it that was running just over 5 grams. They built a 500-ton-a-day facility. They built railways and an aerial tramway system to bring sort of neighboring deposits in. And they were scaling it up to 2,000 tons a day. When the war started, the mine closed, or the operation closed, never reopened, and it sits there today. And there's only been 1 geological hole there. So one of our projects this year is to drill offensive holes along 3 kilometers to look for the feeder zones in that hill. Our board, we have a really competent board. There's myself, moving to the right of me are 2 geologists that have both been international geologists in the Philippines and Indonesia. Mike Andrews has made several discoveries and put into production his own mines that are high-grade underground gold mines. John Carlisle was with BHP, I mentioned him previously, and then went on to become the president of Newcrest in Indonesia and the Philippines. He's credited with the Gosowong discovery. The next person is Mitsuhiko Yamada, and just to pause on him for a moment, Mr. Yamada was formerly the chief executive of Sumitomo Corporation in charge of their global mineral division, and we're very, very happy to have him on our board. And then Bob Gallagher again, who is the president of Newmont in Indonesia. I think I'm running out of time. I'm sensing the clock is ticking down, and I'm not sure if I can get a high sign or not, if I have more time. I'm not sure if all right. I'm going to quickly go to my very last slide here, which basically is what is our plan this year. We're going forward with two paths. We'll be drilling 5 or 6 historic mines to confirm mineralization and then to drill underneath them and around them to start making new discoveries. We've bought our own drill rigs. We have a large established base in operation in country. We've also had a number of majors that have now approached us, and we've moved into a joint venture strategy, and we're well advanced in that strategy as well. So we hope to be able to report on both of those later in the year. Thank you very much for your time.